Howdy, Benno. How you going, mate? He says Max Lynch Ruck 1.
Yep,
Yeah,
I'm down.
yeah. Why not? Let's start off big. Max Lynch R1. We're gonna have plenty of ruck forwards to swing in if cover it if we need. Are we doing a proper podcast introduction?
We can do.
Do you want me to do it or do you want to do it, Damo?
You can do it, that's fine.
G'day, community, and welcome to the Jock Reynolds Tradio episode, I want to say 4, Damo, episode 4. We're live on Twitch covering the last 45 minutes or so of trade period, and we're going to talk about all the trades we've missed, aren't we, Damo?
We are, so we've got a couple that we need to talk about that we've missed over the weekend, and then we've got today's, whatever happens today, to talk about as well.
Yeah, we've got expert comments from Patch, the genius, the bearded maestro, the beautiful man. How are you?
Hello. I wish all of the things would stop happening all of the time, but fortunately, in trade news, there's been none of that today. So it's a wonderful fantasy land that I'm looking forward to scoping out with you beautiful humans.
And we've got the expert. We've got the man in the van. We've got Azza, who's covering the Arc and Trade Radio with a microscope. How are you, Az?
I'm very well. Good to be here. As you mentioned, I am now getting my face into trade radio, and so far my ears haven't bled. So we'll see how that progresses as we move through the night.
I feel so bad, Damo, that we've forced Azza into being the official trade radio watcher for us.
Was it forced, or did he volunteer, or was it a forceful?
I volunteered as tribute.
Sure you did. We love you. Well, Damo, where do we start?
Let's start with Patrick Lipinski. He finally went through and became a Collingwood Magpie.
He did. What was that trade for, Damo? Do you have it in front of you?
He was traded for pick 43, I believe it was.
My initial reaction, Damo, was bargain, but I think it's probably fair price in the end, to be honest. I think that's probably what he's worth. I mean, he averaged, he played 3 games, it looks like, in the VFL this year, which was obviously compromised. Averaged 35 disposals in him, 4 marks, 4 tackles. And 110 fantasy points, which is pretty good. I'm not sure it carries across to senior level, though.
I think Fantasy Freako said that he averaged about 120 something, so I think Fantasy Freako is pretty happy with him, and we'll be keeping an eye on him during the preseason. His numbers didn't quite translate to the Bulldogs, but he didn't really get the opportunities that he was allowed at VFL level at the Dogs in the senior side. So hopefully he gets those opportunities at Collingwood and can translate into a good Supercoach option.
We've seen in the past he's been in that senior team. 2019 averaged 81 across 13 games. 2020 averaged 80 across 12 games. This year averaged 66 across 9 games. If he could put out an average of 80, I mean, what's his price going to be? Do we know that, first of all?
I think Azza worked that out earlier, a couple of days ago. I think it was like around 340.
The zone of death.
Zone
Zone of death. No, thank you.
Yeah, no interest from Patch. He'll presumably be mid only, 350k with a recorded ceiling of 81.
Yeah, look, if he's forward, then absolutely. Hook me into that conversation. But if he's mid only, from a Supercoach perspective, I don't see any interest really, unless we've got stuff all rookies and have to change stuff around. But yeah, good get for the Pies.
Azza, if he's forward eligible, he could be the Lincoln McCarthy of 2022.
Look, it's true. I mean, we're all going to be looking at him if he has got that forward eligibility, but given what we've seen on his heat maps for this year, it's not looking promising, and I would be banking on it's going to be a mid-only, which, and with that death zone, as Patch mentioned, it's going to be a big nope from me in 2022.
Patch in draft competitions, are we looking at him, or is he just like a waiver wire pickup?
Look, I think you'd be looking at him. There's certainly room in that Collingwood midfield there. They're obviously restructuring the team. New coach, he'll be added in there in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, it's hard to see, hard to recommend going hard after him at this stage. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. I think he could do pretty well in that midfield.
Damo, do we have anything else to discuss? What else happened while we were away?
Jordan Dawson finally went to Sydney.
Finally, one of the seventh ranked player by Champion Data after the buys, I believe, Damo? Something like
Jordan
that.
Dawson went to Adelaide from Sydney, I should say.
Yes. What do you make of it, Damo?
To be honest, I think Sydney had to eventually just take the best offer that Adelaide gave them, because the threat of the preseason draft was real.
Yeah, well, that's what the preseason draft is there for. Is there to do. It's there to skirt those restriction of trade laws. For preseason draft is essentially just unstructured free agency, and it's worked. And honestly, I mean, you know my thoughts on this. I don't think Sydney should have got anything, but they're getting a future first round pick at the moment. Everyone's saying it's going to be pick 18, but it could be, it could be pick 10. It could end up being what everyone's valued Jordan Dawson as. I think it's a good trade.
And I know you're a big fan of Jordan Dawson, Lek. Are you going to be picking him up for your Supercoach team next season?
It's a very good question, because next year, Damo, as we've discussed, is the year where I don't believe in curses. And as a result, I will pick players that I actually like.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, dear.
Averaged 101 last year, but post-buy it was closer to 110. I don't have the numbers in front of me exactly, but can play in defense, can play on a wing, great kick, left footer. It's been pointed out to me you said it's nothing to worry about, but all my favorite players, Kade Simpson, Danny Rich, Jordan Dawson, are just left-footed half-back flankers. So I don't know what that means. Good chat. Patch, Jordo, are you thinking about picking him?
I have
I'm considering picking him. Cross live to the Arc.
Yep.
Breaking news live from the Arc. Hawthorn has traded Jonathan Seglar to Geelong. Jonathan Seglar on a future fourth. Geelong gives over a future third. It seems to be the deal. Reported by Cal Twomey. Thanks to Continental at the Trade Radio.
The Azza Review Centre is firing at all cylinders.
Back to you, Patch.
Seglar to Geelong fits the ability range, fits the age list, scope thing. Words are really difficult, He's a good fit for Geelong, I guess, now that they've lost Darcy Fort.
Do you think Seglar plays ahead of Reece Stanley?
It's Geelong, so they'll probably drag Jimmy Bartel out of retirement and play him in the ruck. I don't know. Who knows what Geelong's going to do?
And do you think Seglar will play alongside Asava Radaglia while pushing out Reece Stanley? Or do you think it's more likely to be Reece Stanley and Jonathan Seglar?
I think it'll be Stanley and Seglar just based on past form and the blood pact Geelong has made with the Devil that means they're not allowed to play any young players. I also think
Radaglia is not very good.
Yeah, I mean, I think Seglar offers a bit more than Radaglia, which means Asava will request a trade at the end of next season, and we get to ride this meme into the ground yet again. But yeah, I think Seglar probably plays more as a forward and then as a backup to Reece Stanley or Blissarves or Bartel or whoever they play in the ruck.
I was at the Geelong GWS semi-final here in Perth, and Asava Radaglia looks big on TV, but when you actually see him, when you're about 2 seats away from him, he is massive. If he doesn't get the opportunities at Geelong next season, he may be at another club in 2023.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think Geelong are all in trying to push for that flag next year. I imagine Jonathan Seglar's only moving away from the Hawks to go somewhere to play senior footy. They told him he wasn't going to do that there. I assume Geelong has said that he's going to play senior footy. He's going to be too expensive to consider in Supercoach. Averaged 90 this year across his 12 games, which was also his career best at age 30. So not a
Love to
super
see.
coach option. Good depth in the draft. Though.
Yeah, very good depth. Azza, do we have an over-under? The live odds started filtering through as to how many games he'll be a late out for next year.
Look, we're starting at 7 games as the over and under. It's pretty high, but given his age and his history, it's not looking good for Segler. I have also heard he has agreed to a 2-year contract at Geelong.
Really?
And
Wow.
Hawthorn will be contributing a large chunk of that salary. So pretty much a salary dump there from Hawthorn.
Actually,
Surely Geelong's
just while we're on the topic of making Lek angry, there is one more trade that we missed while we were off air, which was Robbie Tarrant to Richmond and Callum Coleman-Jones to North Melbourne. Lek, I think if you talk about this, you're going to blow a gasket, so I'll talk to Patch about this one.
Hello.
Richmond has received Robbie Tarrant, pick 40 and a future second-round selection tied to North Melbourne. North Melbourne has received Callum Coleman-Jones, 2 third-round picks, so 42 and 47, and a future fourth-round selection tied to Richmond. When this trade first went through, I thought neither team won this, and then the more I thought about it, it more looks like North Melbourne sort of bent over.
I think, yeah, it's hard to say because you say that and one uncontracted player has been traded to a club for another uncontracted player and then other draft picks are involved, and my brain just I just start seeing red and couldn't really concentrate on the picks you mentioned because it's such a dumb trade. It shouldn't need to be a trade. It's so dumb. But it's hard to talk about what each club should have got because I don't think any of them should have got anything. And
Lek wants to speak. Let's let him speak.
Please.
It's not just that they made it a trade when it didn't need to be a trade, because it didn't need to be trade. It's the fact that because it's a trade, Richmond also get to keep a second-round pick, which they got for Marbia Chol, which was overs for Chol. So not only did North, who could have just walked Coleman Jones to the preseason draft and let Tarrant go as a free agent, they've then traded Tarrant. They've essentially given a second-round pick to Richmond. They've essentially allowed Richmond to have a second-round pick because if they bring in Tarrant, they don't get that pick.
Would they have got compensation for Tarrant?
I don't think so. Based on how the other deals have gone down, but it would have reduced the compensation that Richmond got. So North have hurt the rest of the league by not just playing hardball and making Tarrant go as a free agent. I understand why they've done that because they are trying to be good guys, I guess. But anyway, it's very frustrating.
And I don't think anyone would have batted an eye if it was literally just Callum Coleman-Jones for Robbie Tarrant with no picks. I think people would have accepted that sort of, or more than they have accepted this one anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, sure, yeah. I don't see too much wrong with just that straight swap because it's a bit of much for muchness, really.
I would just like to. I don't know that either of these players is particularly Supercoach relevant, but I do think Robbie Tarrant to Richmond really helps Nick Vlaston as an option in Supercoach next year. Averaged 90 in 2020, 91 in 2019, 85 last year, and came home in the games that he did play like a house on fire. I think from round 13 onwards, he scored 4 tons and 2 scores in the high 70s and missed a lot of games. So I think we talked about it on the draft doctors the other day that Tarrant is good news for Vlaston. I think that's the most relevancy this has for Supercoach. I don't think we finished talking Jordan either, by the way.
Just quickly, Michael Gleeson of The Age has just tweeted out that the Jordan Clark deal has been agreed to, so the paperwork there should be lodged very soon. Hopefully the Dockers haven't given up pick 19.
I really hope so too, Damo.
Fortunately, I can't bring you any further updates from Trade Radio because we've gone through about 3 minutes of ads so far. Be back with you shortly.
What are the ads telling us? Surely that's more insightful than Matt Randell's list analysis.
Look, this is true. So far, we have got an Amy ad starring Marcus Bontempelli.
There we go. I mean, it shows the Bulldogs list is in good shape and insured, so we're glad to hear. But yeah, the Clark deal going through is big. Dawson, you wanted to finish that before we get too tied up in anything else, Lek?
Yeah, I just wanted to see if anyone else was considering. I imagine his price at a average of 101. What does that give you price wise?
550,
510, or am I way off?
I think it's higher than that. I think it's 550 or closer to 600. Maybe happy to be
600 is
proven
too
wrong.
much.
600 is too much for a defender. If he's defense eligible, he'll be pretty high up on the watch list pre-season.
Highly considering. Really like him. Obviously, Rory Laird's full time in the midfield. Probably pushes Shoal out a bit. Depends where they want to play him. If it's on a wing, I don't know. Anyway, I think he's going to be a very interesting pick.
Yeah, I think they play him on a wing.
Breaking news coming from AFL Trade Radio. Jordan Clark is a Docker. It's official. 22, Damo. Pick 22 and a future third.
They actually gave up the future third.
And you'll get Jordan Clark and a future fourth back.
Future fourth! Ring the bell!
Yep.
Is that Carlton's future third or Freo's future third?
No, that is Carlton's future third. The Dockers only had that as a future pick that they could use. Also, we are live, and I do recognise that we are having some technical difficulties where Azza and Lek are frozen. I don't know how to fix it.
Are we? I'll turn my camera off and on.
Yep, ditto.
I imagine it's because I'm watching the stream as well. I'll stop watching the stream.
No, I think it's a Discord issue, to be honest.
Cool.
Anyway,
So
you can still see their beautiful faces, so that's all good.
That's right. This is mostly for an audio medium anyway, I imagine. So
Yeah.
So Jordan Dawson, we covered Robbie Tarrant and stuff. Do we want to go to the trades that are happening now, or do we want to go chronologically, Damo?
We'll go to the trades that have been confirmed. So Darcy Fort, we talked about Darcy Fort a little bit. We'll just confirm that has gone through with pick 41 to Geelong to Brisbane. Geelong has received a third round pick number 50 and a future third round selection. Darcy Fort will probably play that Eric Hipwood role and push Tom Fullerton out for some, and Fullerton will further develop in the VFL.
Yeah, what sort of discount are we getting on him if he didn't play last year? Is it going to be like a 10%er? Is it going to be a 20%er? What are we thinking? Either way, he's going to be too expensive. Because if it's 25% or 20%, he's still going to be over 300k, right? So this year didn't play, but cost 390 grand. We know that he has scope to score reasonable scores, but I don't think anyone's going to be looking at him, particularly not because he's not going to be like that number one ruck option up there.
Yeah, I think he's still going to be around that 400k mark, but obviously there's the discount to come through. So, and who knows what sort of discount he is going to receive.
It's probably not a lot of relevancy there. Maybe Patcher, just a waiver wire guy in drafts, probably someone we're not super keen on.
No, even then, no. Nah. He'll average like 40 pass. Hard pass. Don't care. Don't care what format it is. Dynasty League. No. Don't care if you need 50 players on each list. I'm not interested.
Fair enough. So of the ruckmen that have moved so far, and we haven't had confirmation of Max Lynch yet, have we? But we're expecting that to come through?
Yeah, that
is correct.
Yeah.
Is he the most relevant one of the bunch? Because Segler has scope to score, but he's going to be too expensive. Fort is going to be too expensive with little scope to score. And Max Lynch, well, you said he's going to be cheap, right?
Yeah, look, we're expecting him to probably start next season around the 200k mark, obviously because he's already played a couple of games this season. That does immediately impact his price for next year, but it still presents a lot of value. I mean, we know he's a really talented ruckman, and Hawthorn rate him very highly. Sam Mitchell was desperate to get him in. He even wanted to trade him in last year, but that didn't get over the line. So he's probably going to walk straight into the number one ruck role there, which is going to be very exciting for him. I do think they'll probably look at using McAvoy more up forward next year with Lynch then the linchpin as their ruck for the future. And I think there's probably going to be some value there for Supercoach, and it's probably one that I'll be looking for as the ruck 2, if not ruck 3.
That was very, very crisp by you.
Exceptional. Pour one out for Ned Reeves. Poor bloke. But yeah, I like that. I reckon Lynch will be excellent next year as a prospective R3, or if you're feeling bold, daring, and/or dangerous, an R2.
I mean, it's hard to believe that in his 2 games last year, one of them was against Melbourne, where he out-rucked Max Gawn.
Wowee.
Wait.
The man can do everything. So I'm looking at some projected prices here, courtesy of George's Supercoach. Lipinski 355k, Dawson 543k, Chera 484k, Brody before discount 280k, Hewitt 395k, Dunstan 496k, SBS 341k, Zeri 205k, Chol 365k, Clark 335k, Laddams 410k, Segler 486k, Fort
Yuck.
430k is
Yuck.
high, and CCJ 357k. Not all of those players have moved yet. All right, do we talk about Clark, or are we going to wait for that to go through?
We'll talk about it briefly. Listening to Peter Bell on the radio the other day, it sounds like the club sees him and Brandon Walker playing off the halfback flanks opposite each other. So I don't know who's going to be on the wing. I thought he was going to be brought in as a winger. Maybe they're going to move Heath Chapman or Hayden Young to a wing. But it sounds like they've decided to put speed on the halfback flanks.
Right, and so some people got sucked into him this year when he started at whatever price it was, 200 odd K. He's going to be much more expensive than that this year. Are people going to get sucked in again, Damo?
Maybe, but I don't think he's going to score as badly as he did at Geelong. I think Geelong didn't use him the best way.
What gave that away, Damo?
You don't say.
The fact that he asked to leave probably gave that away.
So what did he score this year? Round 1 he had an 80. That was his high watermark for the year.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. I'm going to be steering clear of him in salary cap games for sure.
Yeah. He was
Has
the
there any
sub...
opinion?
Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
Quite a lot. I think it was a sub 6 or 7 times from memory.
Yeah, amazing. Which count as games. Awesome. Love it. Yeah, he didn't play, but it counts as a game. Azza, Jordan Clark, any interest to you, mate?
No, again, look, it's probably going to be dependent on his role within the side, but he's given his price range. I think there's probably going to be some better value to be found out there. So unless he absolutely dominates in pre-season, it's probably a likely a no from me.
Damo, here's one for you. With Chera going out and Clark coming in and, likely it sounds like playing a more speed from defence role. Who's going to be the outside sort of midfielders for Freo this year? Next year?
I think James Aish is going to be on a wing. I think he's going to do what he's always done. But then you got the likes of Liam Henry, Michael Frederick, even Travis Collier. Like I said, Heath Chapman could go there. Hayden Young could go there. They couldn't find a place for Ethan Hughes in their back six once he was fit, and he is a noted long distance runner. So maybe he could take up a wing spot and sort of do like a Angus Brayshaw, Adam Tomlinson sort of role. But
Like a
I
more
really
defensive winger.
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah. To be honest, they've obviously got a plan. Blake Acres didn't work. Connor Blakely was a disaster.
The perennial breakout superstar, Connor Blakely.
It could be a whole host of players, to be completely honest.
Well, who do you think, from a Supercoach perspective, outside of Andrew Brayshaw, we should be looking at from Fremantle next year? Is there any? Yeah, yes, Patch?
Caleb Sarong. hook him to my veins, and if he's not there in my team reveal, please just slap me with a glove and ask me what I'm doing, because he should be there, barring injury.
I think Sean Darcy is also a good shout for the ruck line. Luke Ryan probably is someone to avoid until you've seen how the back six operates, because if he and Hayden Young are in the back six, I would actually back in Hayden Young more than I would back in Luke Ryan.
Yeah, Young will take all those kickouts as well, won't he?
That his kicking is awesome. That they will want him distributing as much as possible.
Well, here's how Caleb Sarong ended his year for those listening at home. Round 17, he had 30 disposals for 100 Supercoach points, 10 clangers in there. He then had 20 disposals for 59, bit of a down week, 26 for 103, 20 for 82, 30 for 115, 31 for 135, and 35 for 103. Actually scored probably better in AFL Fantasy during that period. The kid can accumulate, so hopefully some of Chera's numbers fall into his lap. He'll be a very interesting player, and he'll probably be, I don't know how to do maths or what it is, but if you average 83, is that mid 400s? Mid 400s, Azza?
Yep, that sounds about right to me. It's usually around like 5,364 times whatever that number is.
So you're going to be
Do
tossing
that
up.
in your head.
You're going to be tossing up between someone like him and then those awkward 300k plays, which I think we've learnt from by now. Surely, Batch.
I mean, you say that, but I keep crawling back like the absolute idiot I am. But yeah, I don't think you can pick more than one of those weird, awkwardly priced players. And I think Sarong's probably towards the front of that pack ahead of your Lipinskis and Dunstons or whoever else you're looking at in that role.
Fair enough.
So half
Damo.
an hour left. Most trades that we thought were going to go through have gone through. The only one sort of hanging around is Peter Laddams. Half an hour is a lot of time to hash out a deal. Is there going to be a surprise trade that happens?
Why not?
I don't think so, but for the sake of the podcast, I hope there is.
For the sake of that documentary, there better be.
Yeah, I don't think this trade period was the best trade period for their documentary to go down, unless the Rory Lobb deal is still happening. But Jason McCartney said that Giants weren't doing any more deals.
Yes, that is correct. And unfortunately, I can't bring you again. Still can't bring you much from AFL Trade Radio because there's still ads.
Right, they're making their money. They're happy. I guess maybe they're probably not happy. Actually, there are no trades.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can't expect there to be. We didn't expect there to be many trades this year anyway.
No, exactly.
So, which teams didn't participate in the trade period? Essendon didn't get anything off the ground. No, but they did get Jake Kelly.
We got Jake Kelly, but that wasn't a trade. That was the movement of an uncontracted player just signing at a new club.
So Adelaide traded, Brisbane traded with Darcy Fort, Adelaide with Jordan Dawson, Carlton with multiple players, Collingwood with multiple players. Essendon, I don't even think they were involved in a pick swap, but acquired a free agent. Well, technically gave a pick because they signed someone. The AFL gave a pick to Adelaide anyway. Fremantle, about 800 trades. Geelong, Segler, Suns, obviously the first official salary dump. The Giants, have the Giants been? Yep, they sent out Jeremy Finlayson for a pick. Hawthorn, yes. Melbourne, pick swaps and free agency signing. North Melbourne, players traded. Port Adelaide acquired Finlayson. Richmond, have Richmond been involved in anything, even a pick swap?
Robbie Tarrant was a trade. Robbie Tarrant
CCJ.
Yes, and Marbia Chol.
Yeah.
St Kilda, they were kind of in that one of those pick swaps, but ultimately that was for NGA stuff. Sydney, yes. Eagles, SBS, Bulldogs, Young. So every team has been involved somewhat in a trade. Not everyone's acquired a player. Do we think Laddams is going to go down?
I think it will.
I think there's every chance it does. There's still time.
I still don't think that the Dockers are done, because the Dockers don't like holding on to other teams' future picks. So that Geelong fourth might get thrown into a random pick swap. But obviously,
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see Essendon do a pick swap. It might not be in the next half an hour. It could be in that weird period of time where you're allowed to swap picks but not players.
yeah.
To load up for the Davy Twins next year and try and nab a few more picks this year. But I don't think Laddams gets done. I don't know, just the vibe.
Adams is we've talked about it on the last few episodes of Tradio. It's such a dumb one. We're going to pay you all of your money in your final year. Gets to final year. Hey, we don't want to pay you this much money. Get out. Oh, we want something in return.
Not just something. First rounder.
Yeah.
First rounder. Come on.
No, we don't accept just a pick swap either. We want an entire first rounder in addition to getting off your salary. I know we bought in another player on a big salary. Don't worry about that.
Oh, it's very good, isn't it? It's very good.
So me and Lek were asked this for one of our episodes that we didn't record live. So we'll ask Patch and Azza with no notice. Patch, who is locked in to each line of your Supercoach 2022 team as we speak? If you were to think about it right now.
Locked in right now, we'll say Jordan Dawson. We will say probably Jack Steele in the midfield because I haven't picked him for the last couple of years, and oh boy, is that not good. Caleb Sarong, as mentioned. Jason Horne-Francis and Nick Dacos, but that's kind of cheating, I guess. Josh Ward, regardless of where he ends up, will probably be in my side.
Unless it's GWS.
Sorry, that's the obvious caveat is that I don't pick GWS players in rookie years because, yes. Don't know about the ruck line yet. I'm not going to commit to anyone there up forward. Who is going to be forward eligible? I genuinely don't know.
I said Rowan Marshall and Zach Butters were my locks up forward, but I'm still not. But I don't know if I actually stand by that anymore. Especially if the Saints end up getting Tristan Cherry.
I don't think Cherry plays. I think they delist Paul Hunter and Cherry plays VFL and comes in if one of them misses from being old or being Rowan Marshall and getting injured. Yeah, Marshall's a good shout. He'd be, if he's forward eligible, which he should be, then I think he'd be one of the first picked. Maybe a Dane Zorko if he's up there as well.
What about you, Azza?
From defence through to forward, Wayne Malira, Matt Crouch, Max Lynch, Cam Rayner.
This goes bang. He's already got his team. He's already got his team picked.
He's already thought about it.
Yeah, 100%. Cam Rayner is the correct answer, by the way, in the forward line.
Yeah, I forgot he existed.
Assuming he can move.
Yeah, he'll be right.
What do people think of Jared Berry?
He's a footballer.
Yep.
Yeah, he plays for a team in the AFL competition.
He could be around 230k and mid forward.
Is he going to play in the Brisbane team?
Is he even...
Played 11 games this year for an average of 49.
He was injured.
Was he?
Yes.
He was, but he...
I think Cam Rayner pushes out Gideon Coleman, not Jared Berry.
Wasn't Coleman playing half back?
It doesn't matter. They'll do swings and roundabouts.
They'll Bevo salad that shit.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure, I'll pay it. I don't have any interest at this stage, Damo, is the answer to that question. Pre-season may change that, but no at this stage.
All they need to be a successful forward is someone who plays the majority of games in the season. And we saw that last year with the great Lincoln McCarthy.
Yeah. One of the top forwards with an average of 68.
Remember when Chad Warner spent a decent chunk of the year as a top 6 forward?
Yes. So here's the, let's go forwards by total score. Okay, Sean Darcy's showing up in it. He's not a forward, so we'll ignore that. So total score for the year 2021, our Lord and Saviour Gary Ablett Jr. Dane Zorko, Jack Zeeble, Josh Kelly. Is this trying to project if players are forward eligible?
You're looking on Footy Wire, aren't you?
Yeah.
They put in the dual positions that get added for AFL Fantasy.
Oh,
So
I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Someone else. Pull up the numbers. I just
Okay.
want to hear someone read out.
Okay, total points. This is the top 10 forwards. Dane Zorko, Jack Zeeble, Aaron Hall, Bailey Dale, Tom Hawkins, Nick Hind, Charlie Dixon, Isaac Smith, Zach Bailey at number 9, averaging 84.5, and Steele Sidebottom at number 10. And then just outside, you got Taron Thomas, Joe Danaher, and Tom McDonald.
Keep going.
Number 14 is Lincoln McCarthy
Yeah.
with a 77.5.
Oh.
So that's what I'm saying. You only need someone who's going to play a lot of games, really.
For that matter, everyone should pick Tom Hawkins. I know he's another year older, but doesn't miss games. And every year at this time of the year, I say, I'm going to pick Tom Hawkins next year. And then every year he finishes between 6 and 8 in total points. And I think I should have picked him at the start of the year.
The only risk you're running is 1 year he will do the Josh Kennedy drop-off. Because Josh Kennedy was the same for a long, long time. And the more seasons that happen, the more likely it is that the drop-off happens.
It'll
But
be
you
the
are
year I
correct.
pick him.
Yes.
It's the curse. It's the curse.
Yeah, I don't know what forward we were talking about before that, like, hopefully they average 80 or whatever. But if they do, they're a lock.
Jared Berry.
I mean, hey, they
Yeah,
only need to play games.
That's true. If Charlie Dixon can finish as number 7 with a 3-round average of 61, then anyone... Lekdog, you could average 80 in the forward line.
Imagine
At
being,
AFL
able to,
level.
imagine being able to pick us to score points.
Imagine.
Patched to the max as my captain every week.
You're locked in for maybe 3 touches, and I might get an intercept mark if you're lucky.
Me and my friend a long, long time ago devised a Supercoach game based around social media, and like we had all these people, our friends on Facebook, and based on how many statuses divided by like how many likes and stuff they got on it, we devised a scoring system. It was very entertaining. Azza, do we have anything from the Arc?
I don't think we do because he is not talking.
He might be talking, but he's
Sorry.
muted.
I'm just fixated. No, I couldn't hear you because my ears have started to bleed pretty badly now, and they're blocked full of blood, and I can't hear a thing now. Back to you, whoever said anything.
I'm not sure if this is a direct quote.
Oh, just in from Riley Beveridge, Peter Adams is apparently a done deal.
Wow.
Yeah, there is.
I have no
Hawks
information.
trading.
Yes, Azza?
Yeah,
I'm just getting it live from Azza
So
in the
Hawk-
Arc.
So it seems like it's a bit of a pick swap, but yes, Lynch is officially a Hawk.
Nope.
Oh,
Okay.
Max Lynch.
Right. I also was confused then.
Oh, and
Lynch-
Peter Adams' deal is done.
Yeah, that's just come through. Apparently, Port will get
Yeah.
pick 12 and a future third. Swans will get 16 and Laddams.
16.
Okay.
Ooh. Sydney need
What is...
a key defender, and I don't know who's going to be around at 16 that they can select unless they reach for someone.
They pick Paddy McCartan in the rookie draft
I don't know why you keep
Just,
thinking that Paddy McCartan's a key defender.
because he is a key defender. He played key defense all year in the VFL. But anyway, sorry, forgive me. For
I actually wouldn't,
rambling
it
on.
actually wouldn't surprise me if the Swans go and pick up Rhett Bazzo.
Can I say I hate this deal? I hate this deal for Sydney. I
Go
hate
off.
Yeah.
Go off, Lek.
A player's being forced out of his club because they chose to back end his deal, which he said yes to because they said he was the future of their club and it was a team thing to do while they pushed for a flag. They've then pushed him out. He said, I want to go to Sydney. And Sydney have said, all right, we'll bring you across. We'll help you out. And they're like, we want a first round pack. They're like, fuck, we don't want to give you a first round. How about we swap 16 for 12? We'll let you go up the draft board a little. We bring over your player and take on the asset. And then Porto's like, great. Also, we want a 3rd round pick. Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense why Sydney would throw in a 3rd round pick here.
Well, it's also curious given that they were pretty adamant that there was going to be a 1st round pick. Yet at the end of it, Laddams is valued to be towards the net of a 2nd round.
Yeah.
Is that
well, they'll
fair
just
value
change
in
their
the end?
wording. They'll say, no, we just meant we wanted a 1st round pick in the deal.
Mitch Cleary reporting that the Tristan Xerri deal is off.
So that you can take that to the bank.
Makes
It is
sense.
off.
Yeah. Just with Laddams, looking at Sydney for next year, so we've got Buddy on his quest to 1,000 goals. We've got
Yes.
Logan McDonald. We've got Laddams. We've got Amati as well, who they're really keen on. And then you fit Tom Hickey in there as well. Is that their forward line? Do they...
I don't think all of them play. I think Laddams goes in ahead of Amati.
Yeah, well, they've still got... I think they've still got Sam Reid on their list as well, but he obviously won't play unless they send him down back, if need be.
So
Yeah,
that's all the deals done then, isn't it? Sorry, I just wanna make the
basically,
topic
unless
aware.
something surprising happens.
Does
So-
does Laddams
Yeah.
play straight like in that Sydney
Yeah.
West 22? So
Yeah.
he would push
Yeah.
out Hayden McLean, wouldn't he?
Oh, McLean as
Yeah,
well.
well, you
is
play
there.
McLean down back and it pushes out, like, I don't know, Amati or something like that. Callum Sinclair and Sam Naismith don't play next year.
I'm surprised both of them got new deals. To be honest, I thought one would have been given the flick.
Yeah, I was surprised by
Yeah,
that too. And
and
they got it
especially with
earlier in
this-
the year, right?
Yeah. And given the truck, roundabout as well too, you would have thought that one of those would have thought about going somewhere else to get number 1 ruck position. Curious from Sydney.
McLean turned down a lot of interest as well from, I think it was St Kilda, to re-sign at Sydney, and now he's going to be back in the pecking order, another spot.
Well, they
Yeah, I think he's
re-signed
pretty
Callum
flexible.
Sinclair, and he's 32.
Yeah. Yeah, they must be worried
they-
about Hickey's body. But I think ultimately, maybe Hickey gets pushed out in the end. But Laddams definitely plays in tandem with Hickey.
Yeah, he
Next
was
year.
quite good this year. He was good enough for me to bring into my Supercoach team twice. Yeah, that was fun.
And in Supercoach
Yeah,
terms,
we don't talk about that pack.
Laddam's going to be too expensive to consider. I think even as a forward ruck, look, he averaged 86 last year across 6 games in shortened quarters. This year, 76 across 15 games. Even if he pushes it to 80 and he's guaranteed to be a best 22 player, then I guess by my own rules he is worth looking at. But objectively, without sticking to my own rules, he's probably not going to interest salary cap players too much.
Agreed.
Oh, I hate that deal. I know it's a fair deal in quotation marks, but I hate it. Absolutely hate that deal.
The Max Lynch
Damo.
deal is about to go through, reported by Callum Toomey. Collingwood give up the future 3rd round pick tied to Fremantle and the Suns' future 4th round pick, and this tweet is a mess. So I'll.
Is it a Tom Brown tweet?
It's a Callum Toomey tweet.
Oh, Toomey's normally pretty good on the old tweeters.
It's a future 3rds and future 4ths all round. It is a mess of a trade, but Lynch ends up getting to Hawthorn where he wants to be.
We actually talked about this as well on the Draft Doctors podcast. This is probably the Laddams trade. Is probably good news for owners of Scott Lysette, who we know can score big in Supercoach and AFL Fantasy. He's now essentially, am I wrong? Their only ruckman.
Sam Hayes is very much
yes,
ready to go,
Sam Hayes,
but
yes.
they can't play Lysette and Hayes, I don't think.
They've got Sam Hayes, Alir can pinch hit, and they traded in Jeremy Finlayson, who can pinch hit.
And Big
So
Charlie can do the
Lysette-
forward line.
Lysette's last 3 years, 101.4, 97 last year, and 94 this year.
And you got Todd Marshall as well.
That's
Yeah,
true.
if he
He's also
puts on
tall.
more than 6 kilos, then maybe. He's
Yeah.
very beanpolish, but yeah,
I'd be
they've got a
very
lot of tall
comfortable.
players.
Yeah, I'd be very comfortable with Lysette as my number one ruck in a draft league next year.
Agreed.
And I'll probably talk myself into zagging and picking someone like him instead of Darcy and Grundy next year.
Good luck. Good luck with that one.
So what time does this trade period officially end?
So there's just under 10 minutes left.
Interesting tweet coming from our good friend at Channel 7, Tom Brown. It's been revealed that Collingwood offered GWS pick 27 in the third round for Bobby Hill. The Giants rejected it.
There you go. They want him at the club.
They're very keen to keep Hill.
So Colin Young manages Bobby Hill and Rory Lobb, and both of those deals didn't get off the ground.
It's because Colin Young, he said himself not long before we went live that not being in Melbourne with these teams to negotiate face-to-face has been very difficult for him and his players.
Oh, it's been very difficult for you, Colin, has it? Use FaceTime, bro.
Just jump in the arc.
I don't. To be honest, the quality of the call to Trade Radio makes me think that he wouldn't even know what FaceTime was and might still be using a Nokia brick from 1999. So,
not to throw shade, but he was also the manager of Cam McCarthy back in the day, and that one was a mess.
Cool.
So, look, I'm not saying there's a trend, but gee whiz, smells like there might be a trend.
He's also the manager of Brad Hill, and that was a mess. Also the manager of Blake Acres, and that was a mess.
That one was a mess. Jeez, Blake Acres did not want to go to Fremantle. Well, wait, that is Colin Young, boys. He's not going to be my manager. That's why, Patch, you're going to be my manager.
Oh, yeah.
Colin Young represents Aaron Norton, Tim English, Jared and Charlie Cameron, Mitch McGovern, Sam Taylor, Oscar Allen, and Blake Acres.
There you go.
Wow.
So he's a WA. He must be WA based, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He'll also be on Fox Footy tonight at 7:30.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, great. Really looking forward to that.
Fantastic viewing. Yep. After the trade finishes.
He is a manager where none of his trades went through for any of his players.
I just don't think we should know a manager's name. Honestly.
It's like knowing the premiers of other states. Like 2 years ago, no one would have known the premiers of the state you don't live in, and now we know the names of premiers. We know the names of player agents. We know things that we should not know.
I should mention that if you Google Colin Young, his website for Corporate Sports Australia comes up, and his mobile number is front and center on the front page.
Okay.
Interesting.
We'll give him a call.
Maybe we can get him on for 5 minutes before he gets on Fox.
I don't
Dan Cherney.
I don't want to talk to him.
Dan Cherney confirming what Mitch Cleary had tweeted. Tristan Xerri will remain at North Melbourne. Not surprising there. I like it. I don't think he's going to play at either club, but he's got more chance long term, I reckon, playing at North. Geez, all the paperwork's getting lodged right now. 3 tweets in a row. Bang, bang, bang. Jordan Clark and Max Lynch have both been processed, so is the John Segler trade. So there's always a big lag, isn't there?
I still wonder if there's a trade that's going to go through that no one has talked about. I mean, I think I'm wishing for something that's never going to happen, but I still wonder if there's a trade.
We've got 5 minutes left.
I still wonder if there's a trade that no one's talking about is going to go through.
I don't even know if clubs
You've
have
got 4 minutes and 21
anymore.
seconds.
Well, who's the most impactful? Which trade do you think is the most impactful in terms of Supercoach this year and real AFL, fellas? Have a mull over that.
I don't think that they go hand in hand. I think impactful for AFL circumstances. I think the trade of I think George. This is more free agent. I think George Hewitt to Carlton probably helps Carlton more, but I don't think it really helps his Supercoach chances or anyone else's at Carlton's Supercoach chances. Mm-hmm. In terms of Supercoach, I think Jordan Dawson going to Adelaide is probably the most Supercoach relevant, most Supercoach beneficial trade that has gone through. But
Totally agree.
But then you've also got Max Lynch there as well, who's going to possibly be a decent, cheap ruck that's going to play the majority of the year.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. Jordan Dawson being the super coach option of choice, but I think he was going to be regardless as to whether he was traded. Most impactful in real life is interesting. I mean, I could be cheeky and say the Will Brodie trade because long term it's going to have the most impact in terms of salary dumping. In terms of on-field performance, I don't know. I still quite like Luke Dunstan at Melbourne. I think he's going to help them contend again. Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know.
I reckon Callum Coleman-Jones to North is the one that will do the most for an individual club. I think North have been crying out for a successor to Goldstein for a while, and I think they've finally got one who could be in Coleman-Jones.
We've had successes. We've always had successes. We've just never played them. Like we had Braden Bruce for years.
Sorry,
Tristan Zeri.
You've never played them, or they've not been very good. At rucking. I don't think Cherry's very good. Daw wasn't a great ruck. He's good in other parts of the ground. I don't think he's an AFL standard ruckman.
I agree.
Bruce
Daw was played that position for years.
Yeah, Bruce, was there at the wrong time and then moved to another club at the wrong time. And then, I think that's going to be a big move for North.
Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to it. Seeing how he performs next year in tandem with Goldstein. I think we probably will see Goldie taking a few more, taking a few more times on the bench. But I'm excited. I mean, North obviously see him as the future number one ruck, and who knows what that means for Supercoach in a few years.
I also really like Sam Petrevski-Seton still at West Coast. I just think he's going to be good. I just think he's going to be really good.
You
still believe it.
So you think he's in West Coast's best 22?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think in a forward mid-roll.
I see him more as insurance for Willie Rioli.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Willie Rioli.
All right, Damo, there is 57 seconds left in the trade period. What's the final trade that's getting done? Go.
Someone is swapping future fourth-round picks.
Dream.
Okay.
The dream.
Well, the only issue, we missed those deadline deals because they added in that extra pick swap area. I'd love to see, Jeremy McGovern's been traded for Matthew Lobb, whatever his name is. No, not Matthew Lobb.
Rory
Matthew
Lobb.
Lobie? Rory Lobb. I still harbour great feelings for Matthew Lobie. It should have been the first official salary dump in the AFL, but it was not.
And you said Jeremy McGovern. Why would Rory Lobb go to West Coast if
I meant Mitch McGovern. I was panicking and you know it.
Dear me, that's
all right,
7:30
gentlemen.
ticked over.
Countdown begins. Yes, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. God, I can get rid of that trade radio. Thank God for that.
Well done.
That's... Describe the trade period in one word, Patch.
No.
Lek?
Fine.
Azza?
Nauseating.
I'm going to go with boring.
Look, I said this before. Mitch Robinson tweeted out a bait tweet. He said, thoughts on this year's trade period. And my response was, as much movement as could be expected under the current movement rules. Not sure it's designed to be an entertainment tool, so no issues. Because the only reason people complain about it is because people focus on it. Just let it run. It's fine.
Yeah, it was a fine trade period. It doesn't need to be good or bad. It's just a trade period. There are a lot of things wrong with it, but it being boring is not one of them in my book.
Well, clubs are just backing in. They've not been able to look at their younger guys for the last 2 years for the most part, so they're backing in. Not a lot of list changes have really happened in the scheme of things. So, Carlton signed every single out of contract player except Gibbons, Ramsey, and SPS who they traded. They kept every single other player. So I think that's just a result of not being able to watch him play for 2 years. I'm not surprised by any of this.
Does Gibbons get picked up as a delisted free agent, they like?
Gibbo. Well, he's best suited to play as an inside midfielder. He is 26 or 27 now. I mean, there's a chance, but who needs that sort of player? The market's been really dry for that sort of player this offseason. That's why guys like Luke Dunstan struggled to find a new home. Will Brodie got thrown into a deal. Like, it just hasn't been that demand for that type of player. So, I don't know. I'd love to see him get picked up. I'm not confident he will. I also think it hurts. I know what he said was true when in his interview, he's like, "Oh, they said they see me as a midfielder, but they never played me there," and he kind of was upset. And I understand why he said that, and it was probably true. But I don't think saying that sort of stuff enhances your chances to get picked up by someone else.
I think him saying that was kind of tossing the match behind him as he walked out as well. He knew that he would have known that he hadn't been speaking to any other clubs, and there weren't many other suitors when he said that. I think otherwise he might have been a bit more diplomatic on the way out. I think that's as big a sign as anything that he won't be seen at AFL level, at least not for a period of time.
Yeah. I just want to go over this trade again because as my brain died when you were reading it. This is a madness trade for Max Lynch.
Oh, yeah.
Hawthorn trade a future round 3 selection tied to Brisbane and its future round 3 selection tied to Collingwood. For Max Lynch, its future round 3 selection tied to Fremantle and its future round 4 selection tied to Gold Coast. I don't know what was traded in that deal.
They've traded 2/3 for Lynch, a third and a fourth. So Lynch is worth the difference between a third rounder and a fourth rounder, which is nothing.
It was essentially a free trade.
Yes.
Yeah, essentially it was a future fourth in value.
Yes.
Future fourth! Ring the bell! Ring the bell!
Ding, 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 ding.
Well, we can probably...
that's a huge win for Hawthorn.
We don't have to get offline, but we can probably end the podcast there, Damo.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Damo, for joining in Tradio. Always a pleasure. Thank you for setting up the live stream and running it and doing everything and letting me essentially claim victory. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I think it died halfway through, so I don't know if the stream's still going, but very good.
Okay, good to know. And Azza, thank you for being on the arc and driving yourself insane.
Always a pleasure. I'll do anything for you, my captain.
Patchy, beautiful man, thank you for joining. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for letting me ring the future fourth bell again and again.
Well, the next time you hear from this community will either be some sort of BBL content, maybe some early preseason stuff. We've got some trivia shows to do as well, but stick around. There'll be stuff, but I wouldn't mind taking a break until the draft comes through.
Yep, we may be back for our Phantom draft. I think we've floated that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then if any players get picked up into listed free agency and all that. So you'll probably hear from us next week.
You're probably here. Look after yourselves for however long it is, community.
All right.
We'll catch you soon.